Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Port Harcourt, there lived a wealthy widow named Madam Ebiere. Originally from the south part of Nigeria, Madam Ebiere had ventured overseas and built a vast business empire through her hard work and determination. Her life was a testament to resilience and perseverance, and her success story was one that inspired many. Madam Ebiere's pride and joy was her son, Nnamdi, a 28-year-old young man with a heart as big as his mother's fortune. Nnamdi was not only blessed with his mother's business acumen but also her kindness and compassion. His generosity was well known, and he was loved by all who knew him. It was no surprise that when he fell in love, he did so deeply and sincerely. Nnamdi had fallen deeply in love with a girl named Chinwe, back home in Nigeria. For 4 years, he showered her with gifts, built her a house, and promised her the world. Chinwe was beautiful and charming, and Nnamdi was utterly captivated by her. He envisioned a future where they would build a life together, filled with love and happiness. However, Madam Ebiere, being a shrewd and discerning woman, had doubts about Chinwe's intentions. She feared that Chinwe might be more interested in her son's wealth than his heart. Despite her son's assurances, a nagging doubt lingered in Madam Ebiere's mind. She had seen many people succumb to greed, and she didn't want her son to be one of them. Determined to uncover the truth, Madam Ebiere devised a plan to test Chinwe's sincerity. She knew that a direct approach wouldn't work, so she decided to take a more unorthodox route. She would disguise herself and create a scenario that would reveal Chinwe's true nature. Madam Ebiere fled back to Nigeria in disguise, posing as a sick and destitute beggar. She wore tattered clothes, smeared her face with dirt, and carried a small, worn-out bag. She transformed herself completely, ensuring that no one would recognize her. It was a drastic step, but Madam Ebiere believed it was necessary to protect her son. Upon her arrival, she contacted Chinwe, spinning a tale of woe about her son being imprisoned abroad for a crime he didn't commit, and all his assets seized by the government. Feigning illness, Madam Ebiere pleaded for Chinwe's help, claiming to have sold everything for her medical expenses. She wanted to see if Chinwe's love for Nnamdi was genuine or if it was tied to his wealth. When Chinwe arrived, Madam Ebiere, in her disguise, greeted her with a pained expression. "Please, my dear, help me," she croaked, her voice weak and desperate. "Nnamdi is in terrible trouble, and I have nothing left. They have taken everything from us." Chinwe's reaction was not what Madam Ebiere had hoped for. Instead of compassion, Chinwe's only concern was the car Nnamdi had promised her. "But what about the car?" she demanded, her tone devoid of empathy. "Nnamdi promised me a new car, and now you're telling me he's in jail. What about my house? You said it was paid for, right?" Madam Ebiere's heart sank. I had to sell it," she lied, her voice trembling with the weight of her disappointment. "We have nothing left." Chinwe's face twisted with anger and frustration. "So you're telling me that all these years, everything was just a lie? That house was my security, and now it's gone because of some mistake Nnamdi made? How could you let this happen?" The harshness in Chinwe's words cut through Madam Ebiere like a knife. She had hoped for at least a shred of concern for Nnamdi, but all she saw was greed and self-interest. Chinwe refused to let Madam Ebiere stay in her house, even in the lowliest of places. She turned her back on the woman she believed to be a poor, desperate stranger, proving that her love for Nnamdi was conditional and shallow. Heartbroken and disappointed, Madam Ebiere revealed herself, pulling off her disguise to expose the truth. "Chinwe," she said, her voice now strong and clear, "I am not a beggar. I am Nnamdi's mother, and this was a test." Chinwe's eyes widened in shock, and she stumbled backward. "Madam Ebiere. What? Why did you do this?" "I needed to know if you truly loved my son," Madam Ebiere replied, her voice steady despite the pain in her heart. "And now I see that you do not." At that moment, Nnamdi entered the room, having been informed of his mother's plan. He watched as Chinwe begged for forgiveness, realizing her greed had cost her true love. "Nnamdi, please, I didn't mean it. I was just scared. I love you, I really do." But Nnamdi's trust in her was shattered. "Chinwe," he said quietly, "if you loved me, you would have cared more about me than about what I could give you. My mother was right to test you. Now I see who you truly are." With a heavy heart, Nnamdi turned away, his love for Chinwe replaced by a profound sense of betrayal. Madam Ebiere's test had not only exposed Chinwe's true nature but had also reinforced the bond between mother and son, proving that true love and sincerity are priceless treasures that money cannot buy. Madam Ebiere's heart ached as she witnessed Chinwe's selfishness, but she knew that this test was necessary to protect her son from a lifetime of unhappiness. With a heavy heart, she watched as Nnamdi walked away, his trust in Chinwe shattered but his love for his mother stronger than ever. The days that followed the revelation of Chinwe's true intentions, life in Port Harcourt seemed to shift subtly, like a town coming to terms with an unexpected storm. The news of Chinwe's betrayal spread quickly through the community, and soon, rumors circulated like wildfire. People who had once admired her beauty and charm now whispered about her greed and lack of empathy. Chinwe found herself increasingly isolated. Former friends avoided her, neighbors gossiped, and the social circles she had once comfortably navigated now seemed hostile. The house Nnamdi had built for her felt like a hollow shell, echoing with the emptiness of her shattered dreams. Madam Ebiere, meanwhile, was relieved but also deeply saddened. She had hoped to welcome Chinwe into her family, but the test had proven necessary. Despite the pain it caused, she knew it was the right decision to protect her son. The experience had brought her and Nnamdi closer, reinforcing their bond. Nnamdi himself was a mix of emotions. Betrayal by someone he had loved so deeply left a scar that would take time to heal. He threw himself into his work, helping his mother manage their business empire. The distraction was welcome, but there were moments when the pain of Chinwe's betrayal crept in, reminding him of what he had lost. One evening, as Nnamdi sat on the terrace of their grand home overlooking the city lights, Madam Ebiere joined him. She placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Son, I know this is hard for you," she said softly. "But remember, this test was not just to reveal Chinwe's true nature. It was also a lesson in finding what's truly important in life." Nnamdi nodded, staring into the distance. "I know, Mama. It just hurts that she didn't love me for who I am. I thought we had something real." Madam Ebiere sighed. "Sometimes, we need to go through pain to understand what real love is. It's not about what we can give materially, but about who we are and how we stand by each other in tough times." Her words resonated with Nnamdi, and he resolved to learn from this experience. He knew that moving forward, he would seek relationships built on mutual respect and genuine affection, not superficial desires. As the weeks turned into months, Nnamdi and Madam Ebiere focused on expanding their business ventures both in Nigeria and overseas. Their company flourished, providing jobs and opportunities for many. Despite their wealth, they remained humble and grounded, always mindful of the values that had guided them through life. Meanwhile, Chinwe's life took a stark turn. Her once vibrant social life faded away, replaced by a solitary existence. The community's judgment weighed heavily on her, but it also forced her to confront her own shortcomings. Alone in the house that now felt like a burden, Chinwe began to reflect deeply on her actions. In a bid to make amends and find redemption, Chinwe started volunteering at local charities. She spent her days helping those in need, serving food at shelters, and assisting in community projects. The work was hard, but it gave her a sense of purpose and a way to atone for her past mistakes. One day, while distributing food at a community center, Chinwe overheard a conversation about Nnamdi and his mother. The volunteers were talking about their latest project, a school they were building to provide free education to underprivileged children. Chinwe felt a pang of regret as she listened. She had known about Nnamdi's plans but had never taken an interest in his philanthropic endeavors. Now, hearing about their continued efforts to uplift the community, she realized how much she had misunderstood the man she once claimed to love. Determined to find her way back to the light, Chinwe continued her volunteer work, hoping that one day, she might earn the forgiveness of those she had wronged. She knew it would be a long and difficult journey, but she was prepared to walk it. Madam Ebiere, always keeping a watchful eye on the community, heard about Chinwe's transformation. She was pleased but cautious. Redemption was a difficult path, and only time would tell if Chinwe's change was genuine. One evening, Madam Ebiere decided to visit the community center to see for herself. Dressed simply, she blended in with the other volunteers. When she saw Chinwe working diligently, her heart softened. She approached Chinwe, who looked up in surprise. "Madam Ebiere," Chinwe said, her voice trembling. "I didn't expect to see you here." Madam Ebiere smiled gently. "I've heard about the work you're doing. It's commendable." Chinwe bowed her head, tears welling in her eyes. "I've made so many mistakes. I'm trying to make things right, even if it's too late." Madam Ebiere placed a comforting hand on Chinwe's shoulder. "It's never too late to change, Chinwe. True redemption comes from within and is shown through our actions." Chinwe nodded, wiping her tears. "Thank you, Madam Ebiere. I will continue to work hard and prove myself." As Madam Ebiere left the community center, she felt a sense of hope. Chinwe's path to redemption was just beginning, but the signs were promising. She knew that everyone deserved a second chance, and perhaps, in time, Chinwe would earn hers. Back at home, Nnamdi was busy planning the opening ceremony for the new school. He was passionate about providing education to those who lacked opportunities, and this project was close to his heart. The preparations were in full swing, and he poured all his energy into making it a success. On the day of the opening ceremony, the community gathered to celebrate the new school. It was a festive atmosphere, with music, food, and speeches from local leaders. Nnamdi and Madam Ebiere stood proudly as they cut the ribbon, officially opening the school to the children who eagerly awaited their chance to learn. As the crowd applauded, Nnamdi spotted Chinwe among the volunteers. She was quietly helping the children settle into their new classrooms, a humble smile on her face. He was struck by her transformation and felt a glimmer of respect for her efforts. Later, as the event wound down, Nnamdi approached Chinwe. "Chinwe," he said, his tone gentle, "I see you've been working hard for the community." Chinwe looked up, a mix of emotions crossing her face. "Nnamdi, I've been trying to change. I know I've hurt you, and I'm so sorry. Nnamdi nodded thoughtfully. I can see that you've changed, Chinwe. It's good to see you helping others. Everyone deserves a chance to make things right. Chinwe's eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, Nnamdi. That means more to me than you know. As they parted ways, Nnamdi felt a sense of closure. Chinwe's journey was her own to walk, but he was glad to see her making positive strides. For him, the experience had been a painful but valuable lesson in the complexities of human nature and the importance of genuine love. In the months that followed, Nnamdi and Madam Ebiere continued to thrive, their bond stronger than ever. They remained committed to their community, always looking for ways to give back and support those in need. Their lives were filled with purpose and fulfillment, grounded in the values of integrity and compassion. And though Chinwe's story served as a cautionary tale, it also stood as a testament to the power of redemption. It reminded everyone that while mistakes could lead to downfall, sincere efforts to change and make amends could pave the way to a brighter future. Don't miss out on the next chapter of The Test of True Love. Subscribe now to see how Chinwe's betrayal changes everything and what challenges await Nnamdi, Amora, and Madam Ebiere. Will Nnamdi forgive Chinwe, or will he find love elsewhere? Join us for part 2 to follow their journey of love, integrity, and redemption. Subscribe now to stay tuned.